Longest train ride of my life, here I come. In this video, I'm going to be switching up the content a bit. If you know my channel, you are probably expecting an airline report, but today I'm actually going to be taking the Amtrak train for about 13 hours, from the tiny town of Shelby, Montana to Grand Forks, North Dakota. This will be my first time being on a train for anything even close to that amount of time, so I don't really know what to expect. And while I've taken passenger trains quite a few times in Europe, this is my first time taking one in the United States. So yeah, welcome to Shelby. This town is tiny. I mean, there may as well be nothing here. It feels like it solely exists as an Amtrak stop, which kinda sucked given that I had to wait some time as my train was initially delayed 45 minutes, then delayed again, accumulating to an hour and a half. But given what I've heard about this Amtrak, it probably could have been worse. But the fact that there was quite literally nothing to do here didn't help. Anyways, here's the Shelby station. Looks very old and rustic, but fits the Montana vibe, so I kinda like it. So, the Amtrak route I'm taking today is known as the Empire Builder. The Empire Builder actually starts around the West Coast as two separate trains. Empire Builder number 8 begins in Seattle, while number 28 begins in Portland. The two trains then meet in Spokane, then continue all the way to Chicago as one, crossing north of Montana through Glacier Park, then North Dakota, then through Minnesota. It doesn't cross another big city until Minneapolis, but after that it goes through Wisconsin, then ends in Chicago. But when booking this train between Spokane and Chicago, you still have the option to book number 8 or 28, even though they're literally the same train. I ended up going for number 8, no reason, just randomly picked that number, even though I literally could have picked 28 for the same price in the same train. Now, the Empire Builder is widely known as the most scenic Amtrak of them all, but that's mostly because it goes through Glacier Park. And unfortunately, I'm boarding east of that, which means this train has already passed Glacier. Hopefully I get some good footage though. While I was waiting on the platform, the eastbound Empire Builder was on its way from Cut Bank, Montana, the stop before Shelby, so I figured I should be seeing it soon. And there it was. And welcome on board my first United States train ride. From what I've seen, it's basically the same price for both upper and lower deck, and I went for the upper deck. And luckily for me, going through the rural areas means there won't be as many people boarding here as there will be in, say, Minneapolis, so I had an open seat next to me. Now we begin the 13-hour journey to Grand Forks. My final destination at Grand Forks is 10 stops from Shelby. We departed at 1 p.m. with the delay. Our first stop would be Havre, Montana. Then we'll go through the towns of Malta, Glasgow, Wolf Point, cross the border into North Dakota, and the stops from there will be Williston, Stanley, Minot, Rugby, Devil's Lake, and then I should be getting off between 2 and 3 a.m. in Grand Forks. The train has curtains at every window. They have seat pockets in front of every seat, along with incredible legroom. Almost unlimited, I'd say. And keep in mind this is the regular coach class. This is the lowest fare. There is also a footrest in front of every seat. The top lever controls the recline, and the recline is really good. The lower lever controls a leg rest. Each seat has a tray table which extends out very far, necessary given the legroom. It wasn't very clean though. I don't know how long this stain has been there. They do have power outlets at every seat.
Opportunity for for sleeping car passengers to join us for lunch today, as we'll be closing shortly in preparation for dinner. Again, if you're traveling on our sleeping car accommodations...
One major reason for why this train gets delayed so much is that oftentimes we'll have to stop for freight trains. That happened quite a few times here, especially during my first few hours on board. While going through Havre and Malta, I spent a good amount of time in the observation car. This area is covered in windows and is a good place to go to see the outside views.
Dining car has limited availability for coach passengers to join us for dinner this evening. Dinner is by reservations only. I have seats available at 5:30 and 7:30 p.m.
The seats are cushioned very well and are quite comfortable. However, because they lack headrests, their head support is very poor. So on long train rides, even on ones that last a good few hours, I highly recommend bringing a neck pillow. I cannot stress that enough. Bring a neck pillow. Because there was literally nothing in Shelby, I hadn't had lunch yet, so I went downstairs to the coach cafe. As you can see, the menu's got quite a good selection of options. I went for a cheeseburger, which was $8, and then a ginger ale, which was $3. I ate up here in one of these booths in the observation car. Here we are. They gave me the full can and a cup with ice for the ginger ale, which was nice. Now for the burger. It was one of those frozen burgers that you heat up. And you know, for one of those, it was okay. But for $8, could have been better. But I had to have something. While in the observation car, I had time to work on some assignments. And then before I knew it, we had arrived at our next stop, Malta, Montana. And then we were off again.
We're waiting on one freight train. Today at Glasgow, we're going to make a double stop. Our first stop is our 12 car. Cool.
It was around the time we reached Glasgow, Montana when I was to go to the dining car for my dinner reservation. This is the dining car. Fancy enough if you ask me. I would be ordering from the traditional 3-course dinner menu here. I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think these are complimentary for the first class private room passengers. But in coach, the dinners are $45 for all 3 courses. Quite expensive if you ask me, but I've heard the dinners here are good, so I figured I may as well try it while I'm here. Here's the traditional dinner menu. With each meal, you get an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert, along with a beverage. You can also get a drink from the bar for an extra cost. For my beverage, I just went for a Sprite. The appetizer started with a warm roll with butter. My choice of appetizer was this salad with cucumber, tomatoes, a piece of brie, and balsamic vinaigrette dressing. It was decent. My only suggestion for this is that I think there should be more dressing for taste. Now for the entree. So it's not often I order a steak at a restaurant, knowing how hit or miss they tend to be, but I had heard that the Amtrak steak is known for being good, so I gave it a try. And yeah, this was definitely one of the better steaks I've had. Perfectly tender and tasted great. I really wish I could have had another one. It was served with green beans, some carrots, and mashed potatoes. And finally, the dessert, from which I chose a white chocolate blueberry cheesecake. And like with the steak, this one was very tasty. Actually, one of the best slices of cheesecake I've had. After dinner, I went back to my seat. It was at this time we arrived at our next stop, Wolf Point. This would be our last stop in Montana before crossing into North Dakota. And then we were on our way again. The time between Wolf Point, Montana and our next stop of Williston, North Dakota was when it got dark outside. Figured I'd try to get some sleep. I woke up over 2 hours later, right as we were coming to a stop. I realized quickly that this was Minot, North Dakota. I had slept through both Williston and Stanley. I really wish I could have slept longer. Funny enough though, I probably would have been woken up anyway, as a few minutes later, one of the people working on the train woke most of us in this car up because apparently we were sitting in the wrong car, which was not noticed by anyone until now. But when we got up to move, we found out that the car we were supposed to be in was mostly full, so they just let us stay in this one, thankfully. I don't know what was up, but we were quite literally in Minot for an entire hour. There's probably reasons for that though. Eventually we did start moving again on our way to our next stop, Rugby. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to fall asleep again, but soon enough we made it through the town of Rugby, North Dakota, and then continued on to my second to last stop, Devil's Lake. Okay, so it's 1:45 a.m. We should be in Forks in about an hour. I think it's time for me to go over my final thoughts on this 13-hour journey from northwest Montana to northeast North Dakota. Before I do though, I should probably remind everyone that this is the first time in my life taking a train ride of anything close to this length. So like with my first class flight, I am very inexperienced with these long train rides. So I'm not really sure what I should be expecting here. I'm gonna give it a score, of course, but feel free to disagree. Now, being on a train for 13 hours, quite the memorable experience, and in my opinion, Amtrak actually made it decent. Seats are comfortable with a ton of leg space. I appreciate that they include a good recline and a leg rest. My main problem with them is that they don't have headrests, which will become noticeable after a few hours of sitting in them, but my neck pillow helped with that. The dinner, while expensive, was delicious. Don't know if I'll just bring something with next time given the price though. And of course this ticket was only over $100 to travel almost 1,000 miles in a day, when a plane ticket between Montana and North Dakota would likely cost 4 times that on a good day. So I don't really think I should expect anything complimentary. But if you don't have a ton of money to spend on food, I would highly recommend bringing something of your own. Amtrak is supposed to have Wi-Fi in here, but it wasn't working this time. I don't know if that's usual or not, but I still had cell service for most of the journey. My main problems with this journey were that for one, I think the cabin could have been cleaned a lot better in some places, like the tray table as we saw. Still though, I've seen worse. And while this isn't Amtrak's fault, it's important to be aware that this route is highly likely to be delayed, given that it always has to stop for freight trains and stuff. Just make sure not to build your travel plans around an on-time arrival if you take this train. Once again, I'm inexperienced with taking long trains like this, so feel free to disagree, but I'll be giving this a final score of 7.3 out of 10. Hopefully that's fair enough, and if the price is worth it, there's a good chance I'll be taking the Amtrak again, and I'd be happy to. Now, let's wrap up our 13-hour trek to Grand Forks.